So the possibilities are endless if you understand exactly how to get a business loan with no money down. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you're to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about how to get a business loan with no money down. The thing here is that there are so many driving factors behind the search for a small business loan, but the most common of them is to get access to cash so you can nurture your business. And even better, if you are low on cash, it makes a lot of sense that you would want to apply for financing with no money down. What do you need to know about no money down business loans? When you are really looking into how to finance a business with no money down, be aware that no loan comes for free. Of course, right? Some no money down small business loans require a borrower to offer up collateral, which lessens the lender's risk and raises the stakes for the borrower to honor their loan commitments. But in today's conversation, I'm going to talk to you about a few ways to actually work around the collateral requirements. And so it's you also need to understand that some lenders need down payments for other reasons, because not every type of small business loan requires a down payment. Most often, the lenders that do require money down are extending really large loans like SBA loans and commercial real estate loans. And larger loan amounts equal, if you really think about it from a lender's perspective, those loan amounts equal greater potential risk, both for the lending institution and for the borrower. But, mostly for the lending institution, which kind of makes sense because the more money lended, the more potential to not be repaid. So having upfront cash in hand slightly mitigates the risk for the lender. And a down payment locks the borrower into the loan deal even tighter too. When a borrower has skin in the game, that demonstrates to lenders that the borrower also has a lot to lose, and ostensibly that the borrower is that much more intent upon repaying the loan bills. But again, in today's conversation, I'm going to show you how to get a business loan with no money down while still proving to the lender that you do have skin in the game, that you are interested and you have the ability to repay the loan at a future date. So how do we do that? I'm going to show you 5 steps. You need to know so the first step is you need to know the rationales for no money down business loans. What is that? When you might need to get a business loan with no money. First, you need to understand that. Under what circumstances might you need to get a business loan with no money? There are actually, based on our analysis, there are 3 main scenarios that could actually force, if you will, a business owner for seeking a business loan with no money down. It's important to know that because then you can actually have a clearer conversation and more convincing arguments with the lender. You can actually have a compelling discussion, a compelling negotiation with the lender. So there are 3 ways. You are waiting to get paid. So that's the first circumstance that could compel you to seek a no money down business loan. You are waiting to get paid. Your business is struggling to scale due to resources, and you've actually mixed personal and business finances. Let's first talk about the first one. You're waiting to get paid. Many businesses work on a contract basis, including construction, trucking, consulting, and others. Almost all B2B companies actually do work on a contractual basis. As a result, sometimes you need to wait for weeks or months after services are rendered to receive your payments. And as you're waiting, you don't have the luxury of being able to sit around before you start your next job, contract, or project. Because as they say, time is money. So you start that next project because, quite simply, you have to. Until you get paid, you are still incurring expenses. The utility company is now waiting for you to get paid before providing electricity, gas, and water to the building where you're working at. So you really need to understand that. So the when that scenario happens, when the gap between the payments and the revenue happens, the funds in your account begin to shrink instead of grow. So cash flow problems associated with invoicing are a problem for many small business owners. And the second factor is your business is struggling to scale due to resources, right? So when you first open up shop, you probably use startup-sized resources to get your business off the ground. But that small pool of resources you started out with can't keep up with your growing business. The truth is, bigger businesses need bigger amounts of capital to thrive. So you got to get that cash from somewhere. And the third element is that you have mixed personal and business finances. And this could create a little problem that you have, where you need to have a business loan with no money down. And for a whole host of reasons, financial advisors recommend separating your personal and business finances. And again, there are ways to do that. We have talked about this before. There are ways you need to actually incorporate. You need to have a business, an LLC or S Corp or C Corp, and you really have to really segregate your business and personal finances. So step number one, you need to know the rationales for no money down business loans so that you can explain to the lender why you need the cash in the first place. Step number two, you need to understand your company's cash flows. What does that mean? You need to understand the importance of cash flow, because it's all about liquidity. At the end of the day, it's all about liquidity. If you have applied for a business loan before, or at least looked into it, you likely know by now that small business lenders, they will reject candidates who don't have a strong bank account balance to back up their applications, right? But if you need to get a business loan with no money, you also need to understand why lenders care about cash flow in the first place. And let's just break it down. At the most basic level, cash flow indicates the health of your business, right? Makes sense. Positive cash flow means that there is more money heading in your direction, and a negative cash flow often means a business is struggling. So this is just simple as that. So I'm referring to here, I'm speaking about cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from financing activities, and cash flow from investing activities. Those are the three sections of a financial statement called the statement of cash flows. And this is how lenders will gauge the liquidity of your business and also the importance of cash flow in your company. So step number two, understand your company's cash flows. Step number three, you need to know business loan requirements. If you want to get a business loan with no money down, you really need to know the business loan requirements. You need to know at the very least the conditions under which your business loan application will be accepted, will be approved or rejected. So the small business loan requirements for any form of commercial funding will vary widely, depending on the lender you work with and the type of financing you are applying for. So I'm going to give you a small list of this list is non-exhaustive, but I'm going to give you a non-exhaustive list of business loan requirements you need to pay attention to. Your time in business, your personal credit score, your business credit score, your annual business revenue and profits, your bank statements, your personal and business tax returns, the loan purpose, the desired loan amount, a business plan, and the industry you're operating in. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation about how to get a business loan with no money down. And before the break, I was giving you a few criteria that business lenders actually pay attention to. And I just want to quickly continue on. I want to give you more criteria, more factors that can actually get your loan approved or rejected if you don't fulfill those conditions. So business loan requirements also included the entity type. Some lenders are very careful about the legal structure of the company they're lending to, right? So for instance, if you have an LLC versus an LLP versus a C corp versus a sole proprietorship, there are some lenders that will take a look at that. Lenders will also want to pay attention to the business licenses and permits. Very important. If you're applying for a business loan, the lender wants to make sure you are legit, you have a legit business, and that you comply with all the federal and the state regulations. You also need to think about EIN. You need to provide an EIN. EIN stands for Employer Identification Number. This is actually the equivalent, the Social Security equivalent for companies. Proof of collateral might be required. And a lender wants to see also a balance sheet. I've spoken to you earlier about the statement of cash flows. There are two other important financial statements that you need to be aware of. The balance sheet, also called the statement of financial position or statement of financial condition. This is where you actually shows your company's assets, liabilities, and net worth. Lenders might also ask you to provide a copy of your commercial lease. And some lenders might want to see a disclosure of other debts. Of course, they want to make sure they're covering their butts, right? They need to mitigate risks here. So if you have already a high amount of debt, they might be reluctant to advance you more funds. And the lenders might also require, in terms of business loan requirements, accounts receivable and accounts payable aging, ownership and affiliations, and legal contracts and agreements. So again, this is a non-exhaustive list of all the business loan requirements you might be asked by lenders as you search for a business loan with no money down. Step number 4. So folks, step number 1, you want to know the rationales for no money down business loans. Step number 2, you need to understand your business's cash flows. Step number 3, you need to know business loan requirements. Step number 4, you need to understand how lenders see cash flow and evaluate risk. And this is important. As mysterious as they might seem, lenders are actually pretty easy to understand, especially when you are considering their business loan requirements. And one of the most crucial requirements is cash flow. I've spoken about that before. Now I want to dig a little deeper to really paint the picture you need to take away from this show. Some lenders require a certain amount of funds in a potential borrower's business bank account before even considering extending a loan. This is how important liquidity is for those lenders. Other lenders are a little more forgiving of cash flow as long as other requirements like personal creditworthiness are strong. And every time a lender extends a loan, you have to think about it. They are taking a big risk. They need to know that a borrower, a business borrower or a personal borrower, is able to manage additional debts and has the financial capacity to repay the debt in full. So in terms of a business loan being repaid, lenders have to constantly mitigate risk. So the borrower's creditworthiness is a reflection of the risk. If lenders deem a business risky, they will hike up the interest rate, increase payment frequency, and shorten the repayment period. If they view a business as low risk, the opposite will occur. Okay, and one thing we have seen in our experience is that low bank balances are a big contributing factor toward a riskier business assessment. A major reason for this is that loans operate on automatic withdrawals. If your loan requires you to make weekly payments of, say, $400 or $500 or $1,000, but you never have more than $2,000 or $5,000 in your account, chances are that you will not be able to consistently pay your loan bills in full and on time. And needless to say, this is not a good situation for you or the lender. So the bottom line here is that it makes sense that lenders construe positive cash flow, or let's just say sufficient money in the bank, as an indication of a business's reliability. And that's why on the flip side, it can be tough to get a business loan with no money in the bank. So if you're looking for a business loan with no money down, make sure that at least you have some cash in the bank. The cash might be sitting there for other purposes, but at least it's there. Or just make sure that you build a strong statement of cash flows that shows that there is money coming in and going from your company, and that your company is definitely, it's just liquid. Step number 5, you need to consider the best no money down business loans. So if you're trying to get a business loan with no money down, you need to know the best ones out there, right? So there are several financing options. You have term loans, you have business lines of credit, you have invoice financing arrangements, you have SBA microloans, you have equipment loans, you have no-fee business credit cards. Yes, business credit cards are also can be a source of business loans, if you will, with no money down. So let's first talk about term loans. So term loans are kind of important to know. So term loans are the most common type of loan on the lending market, and they don't require a down payment to secure. However, there is a chance, a big chance that is, that you will need to put up collateral to secure a term loan. Your lender might specify the type of collateral they want to see, but you are more likely to find a general lien or a personal guarantee attached to a collateralized term loan. And a business line of credit, this is kind of similar to it helps you with working capital needs, right? And so your lender assigns you a specific amount of capital, which they determine based on your business's credentials. You can use that cash whenever you need it, in whatever capacity you need it, and your line of credit replenishes to its original amount once you repay what you've used, plus interest, of course. Now, be aware that business lines of credit can be either secured or unsecured. Okay. You also want to think about, if you're looking for a no money down business loan, there is something called invoice financing. So like a business line of credit, invoice financing is a quick way for businesses to free up a stagnant cash flow, and it requires no down payment to secure, really. Okay. The lender will usually, so here is how invoice financing works. Basically, the lender will usually front you cash in the amount of about 85% to 90% of your chosen outstanding invoices, and they will charge fees on the remaining 15%. You will receive that 15% of your cash when your customers fulfill their payments. And clearly, invoice financing is only a viable option for businesses that bill their customers through invoices, and some invoice finance lenders only work with B2B businesses. You may also want to consider SBA microloans. The thing here is that SBA loans in general are funded through a bank or alternative lender, but they are partially guaranteed by the government. And this kind of loans can offer borrowers some of the biggest loan amounts on the market. The SBA's two most popular loan programs, the SBA 7A loan and the SBA CDC/504 loan, can offer eligible borrowers loans worth millions of dollars. And as you can imagine, these SBA loans do require a down payment worth 10 to 20% of the total amount you're borrowing. But the SBA also offers several no money down small business loan programs, including the SBA microloan. And as you can guess from its name, borrowers will receive smaller loans through the microloan program. And the SBA allows intermediary lenders to fund microloans of up to $50,000, but the average amount is $13,000 according to research. You also have equipment loans. And equipment loans, based on our research, may or may not require a down payment. And here is the deal. Let's say your quote is approved. What will happen is that an equipment financing company will front you up to 100% of the cash you need to purchase a piece of equipment, and the lender will use the equipment they're financing as collateral in case your business defaults. And that inherent guarantee of debt reconciliation makes equipment loans less risky for lenders, so it's actually easier for borrowers to be approved for these types of loans than others. And sometimes, again, what we have seen is that an equipment financing company will only agree to front you, let's say 80 to 90% of the cash you need for your equipment, which renders the remaining 10 to 20% a down payment on your end. And the amount of cash that a financing company agrees to front you is mostly based on the value of the equipment they are financing, because that's what they will use. That's what they will seize, rather. if the borrower defaults down the line. What about no-fee business credit card? So if you are unable to qualify for any of the above small business loans with no money down, look towards a business credit card as an alternative financing solution that requires no money down. You might not think to equate a business credit card with a small business loan, but guess what? When it comes down to it, those two products follow the same funding model. A lending institution allows you access to an assigned amount of resources, whether that's a credit line or cash, with the promise of repayments according to the terms of your agreement. Unlike small business loans, however, which are best used for large one-time purchases, business credit cards are the best way to fund your business's smaller, everyday purchases and earn rewards in the process. And like those supersized small business loans, some of the most highly coveted business credit cards and charge cards require something of a down payment. And in this case, you can think of a card's annual fee as a kind of down payment, really. All right, folks. So what is the takeaway in today's conversation? I've been talking to you about how to get a business loan with no money down. The best solution to get a business loan with no money down. So if you're looking to get that kind of loan, it's definitely worthwhile to look into all the financing solutions I have spoken to you about. So invoice financing, SBA micro lending, equipment loans, no fee business credit cards, term loans, and business line of credits. All right. But in reality, the best course of action is a little less exciting. If you can wait, guess what? Wait. You'll have the best luck getting a business loan with favorable terms when your business's financials are in order. In the meantime, you can focus on saving and running a lean business, trying to cut costs when possible, right? You need to ask yourself, what cost can I cut without fundamentally undoing what I do best? You may be surprised at the end of the day, after a deep and in-depth analysis, you may be surprised to find out how much your business can save by making a few operational changes. Also, one thing that we have seen in our research that works a lot is creating a specific savings goal and adjust your budget accordingly. And there is a constellation of budgeting tools, of small business software, small business accounting software tools out there. You can use some of them free, some of them paid. You can use to actually set a goal and work towards that. You can also open up a separate business checking account that you can automatically transfer funds into intermittently. So once you build up your business's cash cushion, both the lending world and your own world will become so much easier to manage. So the whole idea here, going back to what I said throughout this show, it's all about what? It's all about liquidity. It's all about cash flows. So whatever you can do to solidify your company's financial situation, your company's financial stature before asking for a loan, the better. Because it's not just about getting a business loan with no money down and then you just find yourself paying 20%, 30% APR with gazillions of loan fees. That will just make your business's financial situation even worse. So if you can wait. All right, folks. This is the end of today's conversation. I was having a quick convo with you about how to get a business loan with no money down. Number one, know the rationales for no money down business loans. Number two, you want to understand your business's cash flows. Number three, you need to know business loan requirements. Number four, you want to understand how lenders see cash flow and assess borrowers' financial situation. And number five, you need to consider the best no money down business loans. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.